Hello everyone, I'm going to give you a tour of the greenhouse. It's been a few weeks, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, and things are definitely a lot bigger than they were last time. So let's jump right into it and I'll show you what I'm talking about. As you enter the greenhouse, looks pretty full, doesn't it? Now I think it's been 3 to 4 weeks, but still some of this stuff growing in 20 to 30 days. The height and the size is just ridiculous. I'll basically kind of cover what's growing in these raised beds. Anything that I don't cover means it's either I haven't pulled it out yet or I'm not using it. But anyway, I got some kale here, a little bit of spinach. Along here I actually have, these are actually still zucchini seedlings that I've been taking to the market. These are probably at least 3 or so weeks past due to plant in the garden. However, to have a fall crop, I'm going to be planting these this week. Here's another tray of 36 Diva cucumbers. These will be planted in the greenhouse. And I just started 18, well there's 18 cups, but there's 2 per cup. So there's 36 total. These are a variety called Summer Dance, which is a long English type cucumber, the 12 to 16 inch cucumbers. The rest of the beds down here, there's nothing in here. I have some Swiss chard and some mustard greens, and I got 1 or 2 tomato plants in there. That's all for that. Now we back up here. On this side I still have some mint, some green onions, a couple things here. This stuff I just let go because I'm going to be dumping that out, which is just some mustard green. Here's some, again, more zucchini plants to be planted out. Now the big things is the tomatoes, which are down the center row, and the cucumbers and the peppers, which are on the right hand side of the row. So I'm not going to cover these too in depth. I believe there's 9 varieties, different types. If you're interested in a certain type and what it looks like, feel free to leave it in a comment and I can see if I can get a video for you. I know these here are the yellow pear. Look at that fruit set. Nice little clusters. Some of them actually over there you can see is actually starting to turn. These plants here, I mean, the containers are 10 inches tall, but I still count that because when I planted these, the root ball was on the bottom of that plant. In any case, some of these are 4.5 feet. This section here, and I have a couple here. This one here is one of my Cherokee purples. It's very spindly looking, not very dense foliage, but it's putting out tons of suckers and tons of clusters, or flower clusters. The rest of the Cherokee purples are actually down there. When I jump around a bit back and forth, on the right hand side here, these are my cucumbers. These here are, I'm not sure if these are they're either Calypso, which I think these first couple are Calypso, and then the rest down farther, those are my Divas. But see if I can get in here and show you what I'm talking about. There we go. See, there's a nice cucumber in there. There's another small one over there. I've been picking out of these for 2 weeks now, taking them to the market, and it's just so dense in there. I actually started single stemming these, but then I figured, you know what, I'm going to let them branch out. They're liking the nutrients that are in the soil. And again, these are just grown in these little containers down there, some in larger containers. Now we can get down here. Here's a couple of the Divas. I don't have any of the real big ones because I harvested them from market the other day, but that's still 7 inches long. Sometimes I do find a couple that are kind of hiding, but here's a bunch of babies. These things are starting to really produce well. No complaints. Along here again, there's more Calypso. You can see them hanging there, and then as we get further down, I'll show you there's more Divas. And then here I have 2 okras and they seem to be doing really well. They're going to start flowering any day. You can see the flower buds in there. And then you're saying, hey, what's up with these big tomatoes? Well, yes, exactly it. Here I have these tomatoes here are getting upwards of 6 feet from the ground. See if I can find a tag. Let's see, those actually say yellow pear, so then I guess they're more yellow pear. Some of these kind of got mixed up because I had 2 rows of them. In any case, these, oh, I know what it was. These are actually earlier yellow pears. That's why they're so tall compared to these ones. But still, I've been trimming them up from the bottom, but I single stemmed them for a while, but then I eventually said, you know what, I'm going to let them go as well. So here's a nice big sucker. They're suckering everywhere, and once they reach the top of the greenhouse, I might try to train them, bend them down, or bend them sideways or along that way, because I don't want to top them. I want to see how much growth I can get out of these. Now we're back over here. I know I'm jumping, as I said. Here's some nice Calypso. That's a perfect looking Calypso cucumber. Here's one that's a little bit larger in size. Still perfectly edible. Use it for dill pickles. And then they have babies coming on. I asked my bell peppers are kind of doing so. That one isn't doing well at all. But this one here is so big. Look at all those peppers on there. I really picked a couple off of these actually. And even in here, look at these things. Look how loaded they are with peppers. There must be over 10 peppers on that plant. All harvestable size. And then my bell peppers continue down until there where I hit my cayenne peppers. But again, now we're back to the cucumbers. Look at that one. That's a nice looking cucumber right there. That's probably a good 8 inches long, a good 1.5 inches in diameter, if not more. And then in here we go, check that out. There's a couple more in there. These have been selling like crazy at the market. They grow so fast too. There's another one. Here's a baby. This one here, today is Sunday. This will be ready by Wednesday to pick. That one probably won't be. As you come along, I got more tomatoes here. I'll try to cover more of the tomatoes on the way back up. And then here now we're getting into more divas. Look at that little, there's a whole bunch of small ones in there. And then we have a couple. These actually at the end, these are straight 8s. Similar to Calypso, but they're longer. These are about, this one's maybe 7 inches long. The straight 8s they grow straight up to 8 inches, which is what you have here. Look at the size of that cucumber. Here's another one. Look at that. That'd fill a jar. That'd fill a pint jar with pickles. Now we got some more cayenne peppers in here. I've touched on them before. Let's see if I can go this way. But you can just see the height that they have. The top of the greenhouse is just over 7 feet. Some of these tomatoes are getting upwards of close to 6 feet, 5.5 feet. And these cayenne peppers, that's almost, if you don't count the pot, that's a 3 foot. That's a 3 foot pepper plant. If you come down here, I'm letting all these turn. Look at that beautiful color. Look at that. Look at the size of that one. Letting these turn because the bugs, or I should say the birds, aren't going to peck at these because they're inside. Now the Hungarian wax, I've been picking out of these like crazy, but just look how loaded these are. None of them are changing color because I've been picking them for the market, but I'm hoping to let some of these go to turn red. This one here is actually so loaded down, I actually got to get a cage or a string for it. Look at that. There got to be 30 peppers on that. No problem. Back to some tomatoes. These ones here are Kosovo. These things are getting massive tomatoes on them. I'll touch on it on the other side so you can see it better. As you come along here, another eggplant. Look at that, it's a baby eggplant. This variety, I believe, is called Ravina. It's a long kind of Japanese eggplant. I only have the one plant made out of the 6 that I seeded 6 cells in the wintertime in March, if you remember. This is the only one that made it, but it looks like it's doing darn good. Again, we got more tomatoes. We got tomatoes here that are over 6 feet. Coming along, these are some Serrano chilies. The plants are just getting very massive, starting to put on clusters. In the rest of these here, these are all jalapenos. Look at them. Look at that fruit set. There's just massive amounts of, look at that. You can't even see it. They're nice little jalapeno peppers. I might even pick a bunch of these to take to the market, sell them for maybe 10 cents a piece. And now we come down here. These are the super hots that I'm really looking forward to. They're just starting to set flowers, but look at all those clusters in there. If I sound excited with all this stuff, I am, because this is the best garden I've ever grown, inside and outside. And as you can see down right there, you can see that, and maybe you can't see it with the camera, is a little tomato, or a little pepper right there already. So I got 2 of those plants that are definitely going to produce. And coming along here, I got some more jalapenos, and then actually this one here, this is a New Mexico chili. That's a nice looking pepper right there. Look at how many peppers are in there. There must be 20 on this one plant. And then I have some down here. These are some more jalapenos. These are the T-A-M jalapeno. They look similar to the other ones, but they're definitely setting longer fruit. Couldn't be happier. All right, now, actually, if you hear some buzzing in the background, you would be correct. There's actually 3 fans. I have one spaced every, I don't know, 15 foot, I guess, or whatever, to help with some of the ventilation. We get a constant breeze here, but it usually comes out of the southwest, not from the direct west, because we have these trees blocking us. So to help with the ventilation, I have these fans, and it definitely has been working out. Now, excuse me, now I got to stand back for these. Now, see if I can get myself in the frame here. I'm about 5'9", and you can see that tomato. That's almost a foot taller than me. These ones here are actually the black cherry. I have black plum as well. Black cherry, as I said, this is just shy of 7 foot, a little over 7 feet. And some of these, if you stretch that up, look at that, you're just going to be nipping 7 feet. And it's only middle of July, end of July. These things still have tons of growth to do yet. And these are actually setting. Look at these clusters of tomatoes. Look at that. These are just, they're starting to turn. Like, that'd be awesome to sell that cluster just as it is for $2 or something like that. That's pretty. Look at all these one changing colors already. And the thing is, the good thing with these is that since they're in the greenhouse, I don't have to worry about necessarily rodents, raccoons really, because I shut the doors in the evening, so nothing can really get in. I mean, I guess a squirrel could get in, but we don't have squirrels here really. But birds, they're not going to be pecking at any of these because they can't get in. But if you go up here, we're at right now around 5 feet, and they're already setting clusters. Some of these tomato clusters, I've never seen anything do this before. If you look at this, you have one main stem, branches over to here, it branches here, this one branches off, this one branches off, this one, look at this. This is one massive cluster. There has to be 35 or 40 tomatoes that are going to form on this. It's just unreal. Up here there's even more. I don't know why it does that. It's a little shocking, to be quite honest with you. But and again, look at that. If you can see that with the color, see that. Tell me if anybody knows. Tell me what does that, because it's not just this variety that's doing it. There are a few other varieties. They actually have some at the end of the cluster. They're actually putting on suckers or a new leader to form up. If I can find one of those, I'll show you. So those, again, those are black cherry. These here are the striped cavern. Here we can get a good shot. Look at those clusters. These aren't turning yet. These have the hollow fruit. They get the white, or the, excuse me, yellow, and then the green turns red, like a blocky fruit. It's very cool looking. Again, these plants are upwards of 5 feet, and they just have some thick stems. Like, look at the size of those stems on there. I can't wait till this stuff starts producing and I can put, or changing color, and I can start selling it at the market. Now I'm going to jump over here. This is some pink popcorn. Now, my friend Jeanette sent me these as well as the black cherry. If I'd stretch that out, that thing would be getting close to 7.5 feet. It's not setting any cobs yet, but it is starting to tassel. Now, only if my sweet corn outside would look like that. Now, also, my friend, as I just mentioned, she's also the one that sent me the black cherry seeds. So I'm not sure what they're growing in California right now, but the seeds definitely are taking off. I'm sure the greenhouse in here doesn't hurt either. Moving along, we just got more different types of tomatoes. These are some more striped caverns. We move on down, I get to some Kosovo. Now, these plants may look a little sick because of the way the leaves curl, but they've done that since they've been small, you know, since transplanting. And some of these, again, these are getting upwards of 6 feet. And if you look at the tomatoes in here, I got one pink one turning. Look at the size of that. Look at the size of that tomato. Like, these get the big ox heart, or, you know, steer heart shaped. And, you know, next year I think I'm going to cut down on the varieties that I plant. I only have 74 plants total in here, but the varieties I have 13, so that spreads it a bit thin. The market's doing quite well, which I will do a market video quite soon, kind of updating everybody on how that's going. Look at those clusters. And there's another one. But if I do the market next year, I think I might cut down and maybe do 5 varieties, and then maybe just 1 or 2 of other varieties just for myself, to really have production instead of different types. Now, I have a couple German Johnsons. This one, it looked very sickly. I cut off all the brown leaves, and now we're actually starting to put some growth on. I'm not sure what's going on because there's one right next to it, and this one's doing fine. But look at the size of these stems compared to my finger. Like, you know, they're the diameter of a quarter, some of these. Now we move right along here. I get into some, these are actually here, some black plum. You can see they're putting on some color now, and they're eventually, you know, they'll turn the dark red, almost purplish color. Again, almost 5 foot tall here, these plants. Moving down along, I got a whole bunch of different ones. This one here is another Kosovo. Again, I got mislabeled, misplaced. Now we're getting into the bunches where I have a bunch of sweet 100s, I believe. I think that's what these are, sweet 100s. And they're putting on some, actually, I believe these are the big boy, I'm sorry. Because this one here is I'm all over the place now. Here's a giant Belgian. Look at that. Look at that tomato. Put that on a hamburger. Anyway, as I said, some of these might be kind of in the wrong spot because either A, got mislabeled when they were transplanted, or B, they were moved around a lot. But look at the stem one. Look at this. Look how thick that is. And I'm letting them branch. Here's a sucker. I'm just letting them branch off. Get more production out of that. If you remember last time, the bags weren't rolled up, I don't believe. I since rolled the bag, gave them all a good handful of slow release fertilizer, and rolled the bag up and filled them with dirt, and they seem to be doing well. Next year, I'm gonna have raised beds in here, I think, and just plant these straight in the ground. They don't have to mess with these bags. They were kind of a pain in the butt this year. I'll do a video on that, a recap maybe later in the season about what worked, what didn't, what I'm gonna change, what I'm gonna keep the same. Again, if there's anything you guys request, feel free to let me know. Look at all those, I say the clusters, but the flowers are actually kind of starting to die off because they're putting on little tomatoes already. Look at, there's lots of little tomatoes in there. Then we get here, I got some more yellow pear. And look at the size of these plants. They just keep going. Now you can easily tell the difference between this variety and that variety because there's just a huge 1.5 foot difference. But nonetheless, there's just clusters. These are the sweet 100s. There's just nice tomatoes. Can't wait for them to start turning. Again, there's just clusters and flowers set everywhere. What I do, excuse me, if you've noticed, some of them are cut way up the branches because as the tomato plants grow, look how dense this is. They don't need all that foliage. All that foliage is going to do is going to get wet and possibly harbor or bring on disease. The majority of these I've trimmed all up. As they grow, probably in the next week or so, I'll trim these up even another foot. Get rid of all this bottom stuff. I know how I said about I'm going to leave the suckers, but suckers like this down in here, these are going to go because they won't mature enough to put on fruit. I want the suckering to be done up top where they can get the nice sunlight as you see it coming in now. And look at this. This is a sucker that has a sucker that has a sucker, and it suckered again, and it suckered again here. And you know what? Instead of single stemming these, because I don't have a 10-foot high roof, I'm gonna let them branch out. Let them branch. Once they hit the top, I might even try to train some of them over this way. All I gotta do is attach a string. This is about 6.5 feet. Attach a string, and as these grow, let them get lengthy. Train them up and train them over and attach them to that string. They'll want to keep growing up, but as long as you keep training them down, they'll keep growing that way. Anyway, we finish up here with some, again, more yellow pears. So all in all, I know the video has been quite long, but I still didn't even cover everything. If you want me to cover things more in depth, tomatoes, cucumbers, about, you know, how I'm growing anything, soil mixes, you know, anything at all, just leave me a comment and I'll try to get a video out. I've been really trying to get them out over the past few weeks. I just don't have any time. I've been doing tons of hay and just stuff with the farm, and just I got a new chicken coop, which I'll be making a video of that. I'm up to 20 chickens right now. We'll be getting a few more. My wife's gonna get a few more different types. We'll probably end up with maybe 24, 25 by the end of the season. And look at that, how you can now take a snapshot of this, compare it with last video, and then that's about a month of growing. You could barely walk by there. Thanks for watching.